According to the Glossary of Education Reform, the term academic support may refer to a wide variety of instructional methods, educational services, or school resources provided to students in the effort to help them accelerate their learning, catch up with their peers, meet learning standards, or generally succeed in school. Academic supports can have a specific educational focus or goal. For example, relationship-based support helps build stronger and more understanding relationships between a teacher and student. Students will be more effectively taught if teachers know and understand their distinct learning needs and aspirations. Skill-based support provides all students with more concentrated instruction, practice and guidance during the school day or after school in math, reading, writing, and communicating. Needs-based supports are based on identified learning needs. Schools will provide supplemental or intensive instruction, practice, and guidance to students who have specialized needs, such as learning disabilities, physical disabilities, developmental disabilities, or students who are learning and cannot speak English, or students who are performing academically or developing intellectually well, below or above the expectations for their age or grade level. According to the Glossary of Education Reform, in education, the term assessment refers to the wide variety of methods or tools that educators use to evaluate, measure, and document the academic readiness, learning progress, skill acquisition, or educational needs of students. Many different assessments are used in the classroom. High-stakes assessments are standardized tests used by federal, state, or local government agencies to ensure the students are enrolled in effective schools and being taught by effective teachers. Pre-assessments are administered before students begin a unit, a lesson, a course, or an academic program to establish a baseline and determine general academic readiness. Formative assessments give educators feedback about what students are learning or not learning so that teaching materials, strategies, and academic support can be modified accordingly. Summative assessments are used to evaluate student learning at the conclusion of a specific instructional period. Interim assessments are usually administered periodically during the course of a school year to evaluate where the students are in their learning and determine whether they are on track to perform well on future assessments. Placement assessments are used to place students in a course or course level or academic program. Screening assessments are used to determine whether students need specialized assistance or services. The use of assessments can really benefit a school and a teacher in determining how best to meet the needs of their students.
Academic language. Why supports and assessments are necessary to plan for in well-designed lesson plans. First off, it's important to know and understand the definition of academic language, which is the oral and written language used for academic purposes. Academic language is the language of the discipline used to engage students in learning and includes the means by which students develop and express content understandings. It's very important to have language supports. Language supports are scaffolds, representations, and instructional strategies that teachers intentionally provide to help learners understand and use the language they need to learn within disciplines. An example of a language support in elementary and secondary mathematics would be something like this. Students will interpret a word problem to find the part or whole prior to setting up and solving the problem. There's a clear statement of what students are expected to do using the function, using vocabulary, and syntax in your lesson plan. It's also very important to have supports because it is the teacher's responsibility to help students further develop their understandings and skills in the content of the subject matter. It's also important to have supports in academic language because having supports for academic language in a lesson plan help the teacher communicate effectively to the students of what the expectations are, what the learning content is, and it also will help keep students engaged throughout the lesson. Another important reason for using supports in academic language is it helps students develop their skills in using and understanding oral discourse. Having a variety of supports and methods to explicitly teach students the norms of academic language is very important to meet all student learning styles and needs as well. Then there's also the aspect of the importance of assessments in well-designed lesson plans. Assessments in any lesson plan, any subject matter, helps teachers understand where their students are at. So just as assessments help students, assessments help teachers, and frequent assessments allow teachers to see if their teaching has been effective and if students are understanding what has been taught. Assessments also allow teachers to ensure students learn what they need to know in order to meet the course's learning objectives, which is very important for you to know as an educator if the purpose of the lesson and what you want the students to get out of this is happening through how you're teaching, and you'll see this through assessments. And then there's some questions after assessments have taken place once the lesson is done that you can ask yourself as a teacher. One really good question is, how do your plans help students develop their academic language abilities? How did your assessments help you distinguish between students' academic language development and their content understandings? And also, how are you learning and assessments appropriate for the variety of language development needs of your students?
In order for teachers to plan a well-designed lesson plan on academic language, they will first need to know what academic language is, why it is important, and how it can be developed across the curriculum. In all content areas, teachers need to plan to clearly teach both content area terms and general academic terms, as well as provide opportunities for students to develop other aspects of academic language. We do this so that students can fully participate in lessons, acquire concepts and processes, and increase their language proficiency. Lesson plans should give them the tools they need to have practice with language skills that enable them to back up claims with evidence, be more detailed in their observations, use persuasive language and compelling arguments, and compare points of view, with the result being academic achievement and school success.
Examples of supports that can be used in math include modeling, guided practice, word walls, graphic organizers, and language frames. Here is an example of a graphic organizer that can be used as a support to help students solve word problems. Informal assessments are assessments that can easily be incorporated in the day-to-day classroom activities. They measure the student's performance and progress. Informal assessments can include observations, self-evaluations, checklists, or rating scales. Formal assessments are database tests that measure what the students have learned. They may also compare students to their peers or can measure the student's progress. Examples of formal assessments include standardized tests, criterion reference tests, norm reference tests, or achievement tests.
All right, class, so that's it for my lecture today. I have these packet of worksheets that I want you to fill out. There's absolutely no talking during this, guys. And if you have questions, I'm actually not available right now. I have some other stuff that I need to work on. So ask your parents tonight. Maybe they know. Or you can find me during class tomorrow. We'll figure it out. But just try to figure it out on your own. Sound good? Thank you.
The first fraction the same.
Say what?
Then you keep the first fraction the same.
Say what?
Then you keep the first fraction the same. Change that division sign to a time sign. Change that division sign to a time sign.
Okay.
Change that division sign to a time sign.
Okay.
Change that division sign to a time sign. Flip the last fraction. 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 Multiply like you know you should.
Okay.
Multiply like you know you should.
Okay.
Multiply like you know you should.
Okay.
Multiply like you know you should. Keep, change, flip,